talking to you at night. Gary on the radio, but maybe he's not in sight. Bigfoot's on his tail, flying UFOs, that's right. Gary's Talk Show Radio, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights. If you need a friend to talk to, he will always be there. The Night Dreamers Talk Show will fix your despair, because Gary's talking to you at night.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on Night Dreams with Gary Anderson do not necessarily reflect those of the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, its hosts, staff, or sponsors. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised. From deep within the broadcast bunker, a voice cuts through the static and smashes the silence. This is the show that rips the lid off reality, exposes the shadows, and dares to ask the questions no one else will. Get ready for truth at full throttle with the man himself, Gary Anderson.
We made it to Saturday, JC, and I can't believe it after last night. I hope you are having a good day, JC. Did you do anything interesting today? Did you stay out of trouble?
Yeah, and every time I got caught, I said my name was Gary Anderson, and I gave them your address. But yeah, we made it. They let us make it till Saturday.
Yeah, they did, and we didn't get, censored or thrown in the closet or locked up or anything this past week. I'm doing good.
Yeah, well, the weekend's not over yet.
Well, I know. But it's going to be a great show tonight. We got Preston and Dolly. We're going to be talking about, disclosure, abductions, and ETs, aliens. Oh, gee, not my ex-mother-in-law, though.
No. And every time you say Preston Dolly, I'm thinking of like country music duel or something.
I don't know. Yeah, were you infatuated with her?
Who, Dolly?
Yeah.
She's very entertaining. She can sing good.
Yeah. Well, were you interested in her singing or her money? Or is it her park that you could go on all those rides for free?
I've never been there. I'd like to go to that park someday.
Yeah. Well, I would too, but I'm scared of going on rides. You know that. Yeah,
that might be off limits for you right now.
I had a dream I was abducted last night.
Oh boy.
But they weren't ETs.
No. What were they?
Internal Revenue Service.
Canadians come down.
No,
and get
Internal Revenue Service. I had dreamed that they came and abducted me and threw me in the cell and said I owed 17 cents from last year.
And would you offer them some Bitcoin or something?
My late son, he had about 5 or 6 of them. And we had, and after he passed on, we just couldn't, access anything to find out. You know how much that would be worth today?
Some of that's pretty well up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I could buy a couple new Corvettes over it.
Yeah, you could use a Corvette right now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or 2.
Or 3. Anyway, let's find out what Guy Ticker has for us here tonight, and then we're going to bring on our guest tonight. How's that?
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a really big show.
A really big show?
Yeah.
Okay.
And once again, we have a listener letter. This one is from David Brooks of Minnesota. And he writes, I recently tuned into your show featuring guest Paul Wallace, and I just wanted to say how absolutely fascinating I found the entire conversation. Paul is such an insightful and compelling guest, and the topics you both explored truly captivated me. What stood out most was the thought-provoking conversation around ancient civilizations and the presence of extraterrestrial influence throughout human history. Gary made a powerful point when he said that disclosure has already happened thousands of years ago. That really stuck with me. If we ignore the truths buried in our past, then we're essentially choosing to live in ignorance. The conversation about the pyramids and other ancient structures was equally riveting. It's incredible to think about the advanced knowledge these early cultures possessed. And the segment on gold and silver was a real eye-opener. Like many, I assumed gold was mostly for jewelry, but learning about its uses in medicine, electronics, and beyond really broadened my understanding. Overall, I found this show with Paul Wallace to be one of the best I've heard in a long time. We thank you for saying that. Gary's knowledge and the depth of the conversation reminded me why I tune in, especially when compared to shows like Coast to Coast. There's just a different level of insight here. Oh, we really thank you for saying that, too. David's note concludes by saying thank you for continuing to bring such thoughtful and eye-opening content to your listeners. Sincerely, David Brooks, Minnesota. Now, if you have some feedback you'd like to give us, maybe tell us a story about an encounter, drop us an email right now at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. And who knows, maybe one day in the very near future, your letter will be shared with everyone right here on the radio. Preston Dennett began investigating UFOs and the paranormal in 1986 when he discovered that his family, friends, and co-workers were having dramatic, unexplained encounters. Since then, he's interviewed hundreds of witnesses and investigated a wide variety of paranormal phenomena. He is a field investigator for the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, a ghost hunter, a paranormal researcher, and the author of 29 books and more than 100 articles on UFOs and the paranormal. Several of his books have been Amazon UFO bestsellers. His articles have appeared in numerous magazines, including Fate, Atlantis Rising, MUFON UFO Journal, Nexus Paranormal Magazine, UFO Magazine, Phenomena Magazine, Mysteries Magazine, Ufologist, and others. His writings have been translated into several different languages, including German, French, Portuguese, Russian, and Icelandic. He's appeared on numerous radio and television programs, including Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell, Coast to Coast, and the History Channel's Deep Sea UFOs and UFO Hunters. His research has been presented in the LA Times, the LA Daily News, the Dallas Morning News, and other newspapers. He's taught classes on various paranormal subjects and lectures across the United States. He currently resides in Southern California. For more info on Preston Dennett, visit his website, www.prestondennett.weebly.com.
Well, welcome, Dolly and Preston. How are you doing this Saturday night?
We're doing great. Yeah, not bad.
Are
Hope you
you-
are too.
Are you two staying out of trouble?
Yes.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Well, Dolly, I got to ask you a question. How did you guys connect?
Ooh. Somewhere around the end of 2014, I decided, after realizing what's going on in the world, because I didn't really pay attention before that, I realized that I wanted to set the record straight about a lot of things because I wasn't hearing the truth. And I told my ET contacts what I was planning on doing, and they said that I needed to think about it. They briefed me on what to expect. They knew after a few days that I was dead serious. And so I went through all the mechanisms with them of preparing myself for the onslaught of what I would face. I went out there, started to look for someone to work with here as a, telling my encounters and my contact and my experiences. And I wasn't really finding anybody who was interested in telling the truth. They were more interested in some sort of bravado, egotistical, giggy kind of stuff, and I didn't like that. So I went back to my main contact, Talata, who is the entity who indwells the craft that I fly on, and said, help me, I don't know what to do. And he said, write this down, and I always had paper with me and a pencil for things to look up that he would direct me toward. And he said, write this name down, and I wrote Preston Dennett. I came back, started looking for him. I Googled him, found him on Weebly.com. Also found YouTube videos of him, and I went looking for the oldest video I could find of him because it's important to know what somebody is congruent to how they talk over an extended period of time, whether they're really gonna stay true to their nature and whatever. So I watched the first video he did was on healings, and I didn't need to go any further than that. I was able to tap him. He was all data driven, all honesty, only told what the people were telling him. He was a MUFON investigator. He was really good at that. He was well known, well accepted. And I went, whoop, there it is. And I gave him an email. He contacted me less than 24 hours later, and there it begun.
Oh, can I ask you a question? Did he beam you up when you guys started communicating? I'm talking about a relationship-wise. How long did that take?
Preston took, let's see, it was from 2016 to 2021 before I even physically met him. I was mostly corresponding. I was in Florida and he was in California. And so as everything was on video, or he was doing tapes, vocal tapes of everything, he vetted me. I gave him all my medical information. I gave him the names of everybody I knew. I gave him as much evidence as I could, tons of it. And MegaCon 21, he said, do you want to come with me and help me? Because I have to present. And I said, okay. And I was going to help him sell his books. And I was going to get to just walk around and experience the place unknown to anybody, because he was already starting to write Symmetry then. And so I went with him, and it was very, very interesting. When we met, I had gotten an Airbnb, it was in Laughlin, but I got the Airbnb just over the river in Bull's Head City. And the first night I got there, Preston was doing what it was, coast to coast.
Radio show,
and he couldn't come in the same night I did, but I had Yvonne Watson with me, my friend that I've known forever, who's also an paranormal investigator. She's psychic. And she met me in Las Vegas because I had to fly to Las Vegas. Tolada followed me in craft. I didn't fly in craft, but he followed me to Las Vegas. He was sighted. It was all over the news. And she drove me from Las Vegas to Bull's Head City through the Mojave to the Airbnb. And she stayed with me the first night till he got there. And we had like 3 bedrooms. Preston had a room, I had a room, and she had a room. But that first night, Todd said, I can't stay long. If you want video of me, we got to do it tonight. Absolutely. Because he was now being hunted, okay, by the military. And so he came down, and I got tons of video of him, lots of pictures, and Yvonne got to witness him. She had seen him once before at one of our CE5s, but this is the first time she got up close and personal seeing him. Preston came the next day, and when he came, they brought a mothership down for him to see, because Tolada had already vacated, and they were way up in, out in space, but it's big enough you can see it, And then after that, Preston got to experience all the fact that I have NSA, CIA, and whoever else is following me around follow us and stay with me.
Oh, yeah. We were followed from the conference to our Airbnb. They actually parked in front of the driveway, blocking it. It was very in your face. No denying it.
Were you nervous when that was going on, guys?
I'm used to it. Preston?
Not really. No, I've worked with a lot of contactees. Many of them have reported being followed, or even their homes broken into, hypnosis tapes stolen, photographs, this sort of thing, their contact notes. Kind of used to it.
Back a couple years ago, we were doing a show, me and JC, and we had a guest on, and I guess the subject we were talking about, and about 45 minutes into the show, all of a sudden my studio was shaking, and I heard the sound of a helicopter overhead. And it was there for like about 5 minutes, and then it took off. And after the show was over, I got this weird message. JC, you remember? I don't remember what it said, but you have a good memory. What did it say?
It said 4 words, just so you know.
Yeah. And then my neighbor the next morning said, hey, there was a military helicopter just hovering right over your roof. Again, I think they try to intimidate people. I really do.
Yeah.
We've tried a few times.
I find it flattering. It means you're on the right track. Pressing some buttons.
Yeah, but my late Art Bell, my late friend, he had some stories he told me off the air that some of his guests actually had really bad experiences afterwards, like they died.
Ooh. I'm very well protected by Talata. They've made attempts to take me, and one time he actually physically intervened. I was still in Florida, and they had an agent trying to come in my window at night. I was alone in the house. I was slept on the second floor, and he knocked him off the roof, and he EMP'd their car with all their equipment in it. And the next thing you know, there's blue and red lights everywhere. There's government people. They're taping it off, and it was a weird night. And he gave them a direct message: touch her not. And so they backed off of me for a while. They used to follow my daughter and I in helicopters. They followed me in helicopters, trying to intimidate me. They've tried to make me sick. It's an ongoing thing. I have to be very vigilant in my life.
Well, you're all prepared for it because I'm looking at your bio. You were a zookeeper, a lifeguard, a bus driver, so you know how to handle people.
Yep.
You know, a security guard, a nurse. So, I mean, you were all there. You worked for a government agency or two. I mean, and plus karate and some other self-defense.
Yeah. My father was an airborne ranger, and I started taking judo when I was 5. And it just went on from there. I grew up in the military. I served in the DoD I supported the 75th Ranger Regiment on Fort Benning. I also was transportation. I could drive any vehicle they had, and I did munitions. I transported munitions, and I've had some really interesting days of my life out there. I have some NDAs. My dad does as well. My dad worked for the military in many aspects. He also worked for NASA and others that I can't mention to you publicly. And it's been an interesting life.
Yeah. Well, he was also a contactee. Yeah. This is generational, so he kind of knew what she was going through.
Right, exactly.
Well, you too.
He knew I needed to take care of myself.
Well, Preston, how about you? Have you been harassed to that extent?
No, not to that extent. I've been threatened at least once when I was in the middle of a big investigation into a UFO wave in Topanga Canyon. I'd given my number to the police. I was putting up flyers. I was going door to door. Well, some guy calls me, starts reading his resume about how he's a colonel and has a top secret clearance, and tells me that UFO investigation is dangerous. I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm barking up the wrong tree. It's not what I think it is. And just going on and on. And I'm a young man at that time, pretty fearless. And, I know there's life after death. That doesn't scare me. You can't threaten me and get me off this topic. I'm in it for the long haul. But yeah, that occasionally has happened a few times. I've had, honest to God, mail problems, email problems. I've had people stop on the street and take a picture of me. And I don't think that was a fan or anything like that, but being heckled when I'm speaking at a conference, or government suit guys coming up to my table and asking me what I'm working on, but nothing really, super dangerous, I guess.
Well, that is dangerous when you really think about it. I think the worst that ever happened to us, one day I woke up and I was on the computer, going through some of my shows, and all of a sudden 1,300 episodes from, off the internet apps disappeared off of our server. I couldn't stop. By the time I, tried to shut everything down, wasn't it about 1,300 episodes, JC, we lost?
Yeah, it was quite a bit, and it was ridiculous. But yeah, it's a good thing you got on it when you did.
Yeah, and then I got a little sarcastic email about it. So, again, I think they do harass people.
Yeah, well, you're barking up their tree. Apparently, you're putting the right people on to talk, and they don't like it, Yeah,
they're ruthless. I mean, people have lost their lives over this subject. There's no doubt about it.
Well, Art, told me that he had one guest on within a week after he was on. He came home and got out of his car in his garage, and they found him dead, shot in the head. I mean, it's weird. I don't know if it's related to UFOs, ETs, or the government, or, it's a subject. It's still kind of scary in a way. But, now, here's what I'm finding. You have so many people fighting right now in the community. I've never seen it this bad. People bad-mouthing, whistleblowers, other people that's been around a long time. People changing their stories right and left. It's I don't know. I don't know if you noticed that, Preston and Dolly. Have you noticed it's been going on?
I sure have.
All of a sudden,
it's always been political. But I think it's important that, we give kudos to anyone who gets into this field, because it is controversial. We're all working for the same thing. We just want the truth. At least I'd like to think that. I'm an optimist. I've come to learn that that's not the truth. There are bad actors in this field. There are what we would call government agents who are purposefully spreading fear and disinformation. There are fake contactees out there. There are people who are in it for a buck. People who are in it for fame. People who are just trying to push people's buttons. So it's a bit of a mess. But yeah, I really do give kudos to any whistleblower who's trying to get the truth out genuinely. And really any researcher, I'm done with, all the politics of it. I think we all need to just get together, get a consensus of what we know, and work towards the truth.
Well, we need to, because I really want to know what's going on, because, again, I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers out there. We're not the only people in the campground, the humanoids in the campground. There's got to be life out there in many different places and more advanced than we are. And people who deny that, I really feel sorry for them. I really do. But again, I think a lot of ETs would never hurt us. They're here to help humanity. But then again, I look at honestly how man has started out on this planet. And if you go back even into the Bible, Cain and Abel, what did they do to each other? What did one brother do to the other? What have we been?
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, and
we're in a 12,000-year cycle. Okay, we're at the end of a 12,000-year cycle right now, and we have a lot coming at us. And the governments of the world know it. The military-industrial complex absolutely knows what's going to happen. We have 8.4 billion people on this planet, and they know that it would be unsustainable if the catastrophe hit us and we lost power and everything else. Okay, too many people, it's unsustainable, and they want to survive. They know what's coming, and so they have a plan. And disclosure is really their narrative, what they want you to know, and what they don't want you to know, they keep from you, and they will tell you lie upon lie upon lie to keep you clueless and unendingly questioning what is the truth. That's what's going on right now. That is the truth. Sadly, a lot of people have been denied an education where they don't have the foundation to understand true science anymore. And so when a scientist starts talking to you and he's telling you the truth, it sounds phantasmagorical to them. They don't want to believe it. It's too much. It also means end times for them. And and then we're all distracted on this planet by hate, war, famine, misuse of humanity. I mean, it's anarchy is ensue worldwide right now. And that's part of their plan to keep you.
If our governments truly wanted to disclose, they could have decades ago. And in my mind, the ETs have already done so. We have a database worldwide of well over 1 million documented UFO encounters. How many does it take? Any logical, objective researcher can spend one day and know that this subject is real. I don't think we need to go to our governments for answers on this. They have lied from day one. They're still lying. I would not go to them for information on this subject.
Yeah. I want to point back to somebody, Eisenhower. His exit speech directly named the problem. He told everyone to beware of the military-industrial complex. It had already taken over during his presidency or just before it, and he knew that there was no way to fight it unless we all understood that it was a threat to us and our knowledge of what's really going on around us. And yet everybody ignores that. Everybody. They don't think about it. There is a military-industrial complex. If you want to know why the DOD and the DOJ are trillions of dollars in debt and money's disappearing here and there, and things are happening technologically that we have no clue of, it's because they're spending money on an agenda that they have. And it does not include humanity at all.
It never has.
Well,
if you want to know who's in control, they are.
Well, yeah, that's scary. And, you guys are both right. If we go back to Roswell, for example, when I was watching, I hate to say it, the circus with the Congress, to me, that was just a circus. I watched it, you had the people from the CIA, the Pentagon, all coming out. Oh, Roswell never happened. There's no bodies. There was never this. This never happened. That never happened. All the way, every case it never happened. But yet, when you really think about why would they announce that they had a crashed UFO and then a couple hours later they changed their story? I can tell you why. Somebody in the Pentagon and in the White House freaked out and had an accident in their pants when all of a sudden it was on the news media.
They already knew UFOs existed before that. That's what's interesting about this. And they've never told you the true story about Roswell. A couple of people are coming out and trying to, but it's still not hitting the main frame of everybody's brains. And that there wasn't one, there were two. One of them was totally disintegrated, and the other one is where they got bodies from. It is, and they weren't that far apart. Okay, it is amazing to me how much disinformation they'll put out. They manipulate information on will, and they have the means and the grounds to do it. They have written laws so that national security and the threat of national security gives them carte blanche and what you know or you don't know about what they're doing. National security gives them carte blanche to get any kind of money they need. They'll appropriate it any way they want to. There are plenty of people who know this and can show it to you. Michael Schratt's one of them, where they've misappropriated funds. I mean, you remember back in the 60s and the 70s where a hammer cost $15,000?
Yeah.
Or a box of nails with $2,000? That's because that's them taking funds. They're misappropriating in the their accounting of what they're really getting the money for. They laundered money into that system willy-nilly, and they always have.
Yeah, they've proven themselves to be not trustworthy with this subject.
Correct.
Until and unless they're willing to admit to the truth of Roswell, or the Malmstrom incident in Montana in 1967, or the Capitol flyover in 1954, or any number of incidents, I don't see why we should listen to them. I don't want to hear it until they can come clean with at least some of what's gone on in the past.
Well, here's another.
I'm sick of hearing the whistleblowers come out who are actual agents. Okay, these guys are on heavy NDAs. And when I say that, I mean that if they say the wrong thing, they're dead, and so are their families, and they know it. That's a fact. Okay, so you get like guy like Gresh is coming out, and he's terrified the whole time. He talks about being terrified, and now he's back in. You realize he was out, but now he's in again. It's a circus of information that they only let out a little bit at the time, and it's completely their narrative, a controlled statement. Those aren't real whistleblowers. I wish they wouldn't use that term. They are mouthpieces for the government to hear, you to hear what they want.
Some are forced into it. Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing, too, is you have all these people, and I've had a couple of them on the show and interviewed them, and at the end of the show, I told my producer, I said, they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything.
Correct.
A lot of experts are saying a lot of words without any meaning to them.
Whatsoever, yeah.
I even read the book from one of them that was very popular back 6 months ago, and I'm not going to say who he was. I got a copy of his book. I read it. And even in this book, it was nothing in this book. Nothing, no facts. It was all
nothing.
A lot of hearsay and nothing, no meat to it. Just the potatoes.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of forces behind the cover-up, but ultimately I think it comes down to greed, power, and control. The only ET threat is to them and their control over all humanity, their money. So that, I think, is what the ET threat is, not to humanity.
Yeah, well, that's their paranoia because it's not a real threat. ET has no intentions of interrupting anything we do. It's all up to us. We are in control of ourselves, and most of the people on this planet need to wake up. If we all stood together as one, the governments wouldn't be able to control us like they do.
Well, you know what I'm really scared of is what's going on now about deportation, of being deported, even U.S. citizens, and it's getting worse. I mean, that's another threat I think that could be used against ufologists. If somebody wants to really come out and say what you risk being deported out of the country now.
I don't know. I think they just outright kill you and disappear you. It's easier to do it that way than to use that narrative. One of the things that is happening right now is that worldwide, everybody but Poland has undocumented people in their countries that shouldn't be there. Okay, that came in illegally worldwide. Every single country Every single country has this problem. And there are countries now that are wholly getting crazy about it and trying to eject them as well. But it's not happening. Now that it's happening here, and we realize how many 21 million people in this country undocumented is a serious thing. And they're using that for a reason. You have to check the narrative of what they're saying and understand why they're here and what are they for. They've messed up our supply chains. They've messed up our meat and poultry. They've messed up our food supplies. They've bought all the farms that they possibly could. What do you think they're planning to do?
Yeah, well, who we think is the government isn't really running the country.
No.
It's a shadow government.
Right. It's a
the
dog
intelligence
and pony
agencies.
show. That's right.
Yeah.
So while you're all up in their politics, you're not seeing what's really going on in the background. That's the point.
And you guys may be
That's where
right.
you need to look.
We got to take a break. It's about 4 minutes long. Then we're going to come back with Dolly and Preston. And I'm going to find out about you, Dolly. And then we're going to talk to Preston. We're going to just have a lot of fun here tonight. So, get yourself something cold or warm to drink, depending where you're at in this world. And get yourself in that easy chair, prop up your feet, and let's have some fun here tonight on Night Dreams Talk Radio. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done. Leave a comment because our sponsors look at that. Very important. We'll be back right after this.
Mark your calendar now. June 5th, 6th, and 7th at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's Alien Abduction Week on Night Dreams Talk Radio with the legendary Gary Anderson. Live on YouTube and streaming on all your favorite apps. 3 nights of chilling stories from guests who claim they've been taken by extraterrestrials and they're ready to tell all. It kicks off Thursday, June 5th, and runs through Saturday, June the 7th. You don't want to miss this one. It could be hair-raising, mind-bending, and just maybe the truth you've been waiting for. So don't forget, subscribe now, hit that notification bell, and join us live. We'll even be taking a few call-ins. You could be part of the show. Only on Night Dreams Talk Radio, where the strange is normal.
Come along, baby.
Available now. Bigfoot Origins, The Search for the Cryptid Homeland by Mike Dupler. This is the most comprehensive and in-depth examination of Bigfoot ever written. How did Bigfoot in North America, the Yowie in Australia, and the Woodwoes, Britain's Bigfoot, get to where they are today? Mike Dupler connects the dots, and the conclusions are incredible. This changes everything. Don't be left out in the woods, in the cold, not knowing. Read Bigfoot Origins, The Search for the Cryptid Homeland by Mike Dupler. Available now on Amazon. The night trembles, the truth screams, and the gatekeeper of the unknown is on the air. This is Night Dreams Talk Radio, and Gary Anderson is on a mission to rip the veil, punch through the lies, and wake you the hell up.
And we are back. Well, guys, again, it's really, how can I say it? It's getting hair-raising out there. We have people claiming that we're going to have major disclosure in next month, and I've been hearing that for 15 years. Other major people out there, I'm really starting to think they are disinformation people, because they've literally changing their stories. Every time they do a different interview, their stories change. And it is getting, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's getting really scary and hair-raising for what we're trying to do.
Yep, that's true. It's funny that you bring that up. I was thinking about that earlier today. It is amazing to me. People who have been at this a long time, people who have a lot of supposed clout, and they're saying things that are off the charts now, and just not the same. I mean, totally changing their story. It's almost heartbreaking to me to hear them do it. If you know the truth doesn't change. But if you're supporting a narrative, it will. They'll use different themes. They'll do all kinds of things, and that's how you know you're being conned, literally.
Yeah, I've got a few major researchers who are on my naughty list. Not going to name names. They know who they are.
Yeah, well, there's a few of them, I'll never have back on the show. One of them is very, very well known. I mean, very well known. And when I was talking to him this past week, I said, I would like to have you on the show. And he goes, Gary, I don't want to come on your show unless you pay me during the summer, because this is where I make my money. He goes, I make thousands and thousands of dollars going to all these events. I don't have time to do an interview. And that is scary when they think that, but that
blows my mind. I know it happens. I really do. It's just that it blows my mind completely.
Well, buy him a steak dinner and they might come on. I don't know. Well, what happened to you, Dolly? To got you into all this? Did you have an encounter? What happened?
I was born into it. They've tracked my family for eons, and my father was an experiencer. I didn't know that, though, until I was 14. My first memories are at 10 months old, and them levitating me out of my crib. It freaked me out. I flipped over and tried to pull myself back down. I refused to sleep in the crib right after that. I put my legs to the bars to hold on. I just thought they're coming to get me. My first real memory was I was about 5.5, 6, and I was out in the front yard, and I was laying under a big gumbo limbo tree, ficus. And I was looking at the clouds. It was a beautiful day. And all of a sudden I saw an umbrella coming down. I had just seen Mary Poppins like the week before. And I think they had that in my mind. They read that off me and they made it look like an umbrella. So I went and jumped up and run for my life. And I heard music too. I actually, before they pulled me up, I realized that there's no handle on the umbrella. Where's the parrot, And the next thing I know, I'm on board and I'm sitting on a woman's lap. And she was a tall gray, and she told me to call her mama. And that's my first memorable experience in realizing that I was going on board with them. It was pretty much my whole life. I've been contacted my entire life. My mom did not like it. She was afraid of what was happening. And she tried to tell me I was, dreaming, making things up, blah, blah, and she was at me about it all the time. And when I was 14, I decided that I was going to figure it out, that no more, this is happening to me. If it's real, it's real. And if it's not, I need a doctor. And I was smart enough at 14 to know that if I'm seeing this and it's not real, I need a doctor right now, because I couldn't go through life like this anymore without knowing the truth. And my next contact, I literally bloody worked my off, and I remembered the whole thing. And I became very conscious at that point. Something shifted in me, and was from that moment on, I was 100% conscious all the time. You can't, there's no memory loss, nothing. There's no in-between stories. And I remembered everything from my entire life, dude. It took me about a week to assimilate everything and understand what was going on. My father realized it happened to me, and he took me, I was really freaking out. And my dad took me to Fort Worth, Florida. And he took me to this man's house, and he knocked on the door and he opened the door, and Edgar Mitchell standing there looking at us. Now, I knew who he was because my dad worked for NASA, okay? And I'm thinking, why am I meeting an astronaut right now? And he brought us in, and I did not realize that Edgar had already started a foundation and of consciousness studies, paranormal, that kind of thing. And he tried to hypnotize me. My dad did not realize that I remembered everything. He thought I needed to be hypnotized. Edgar looked him dead in the face and said, she is unhypnotizable. She's wide awake, and you need to come clean now. And that's when my dad sat down and told me that he was a contactee, and he understood everything that was going on.
Now, your dad was a contactee. How long was it all his life too?
He met them, consciously met them when he was about the same age I was at 14. And they brought him on board. My father had dyslexia really, really bad, but my dad has an unbelievably high IQ at the same time. And they told him not to despair about it, that he was going to figure everything out, and he needed to do what he was aiming to do. And they knew very well what was going to happen with him. And they greatly encouraged him, and that sent him on the path. My father did not go to college. He graduated he went to Crane Tech. It was a technical school for high school. But before he graduated, he joined the Army. While he was in the Army, they helped him get his GED through Crane Tech. It was an actual high school diploma written. They let him take the tests, and he passed them. Over the years, my father taught himself, while I was a very small child, up until about the age of 6, he taught himself how to be an architect, an aeronautical engineer, and a regular engineer. And he took all the state boards, and he passed them all. University of Florida gave him an honorary doctorate because of what he's done. All his exam tests were used by the state of Florida. Crandon Park was my father's drawing. He did that during his test. They made Crandon Park after his drawings. He did all kinds of work for military engineers, the Army, and the military industrial complex as well.
Wow.
I grew up with this. I know it all very early on.
Here's the important question I got to ask you, Dolly. So he was a contactee. How about his father? My
grandfather was. I didn't realize what he was trying to tell me. I lived on the farm up in Wisconsin when I was very small. They had a dairy farm, and given my accent, okay. And he used to take me out with him in the wintertime, which is brutal back then. I mean, 52 below, no kidding. And he had hundreds and hundreds of cows. We had 3 barns, big heaters on the inside, those potbelly stoves. We had to light them every day, milking cows and stuff. He used to feed the animals that would have starved to death through those winters. He would grow enough hay for them too. He had a sled, and we had big percherons, and he'd hook them up and throw the hay in the back, and we'd go out with bird seed and hay and feed elk and whatever else wanted to come, and all the birds. And I watched the birds light on him, and it fascinated me that he had this empathetic relationship with nature the way he did. Okay. Animals will come to him hurt. And he used to tell me, I know that I'm supposed to be doing this. And I'm 5 years old, so I'm just listening. Okay. I'm not adult making cognitive reasoning to understanding what he's saying to me. And he said there were others who came to him and taught him about life and what it meant to be alive. And everything. My grandfather was very psychic. There was nothing you could say to him that he hadn't already figured out, and you couldn't lie to him. He was that psychic.
Wow.
On the other side of that, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my father's mother's mother, my mormor, was Swedish, and she was very psychic as well, more psychic than him. And if she said something to you, it was so. So I had that running in my family. So I have all this information around me my whole life. We practiced being psychic in our family. My mother was psychic, even though she hated it. I was allowed to develop. I was given information. I was taught. I'm not as smart as my dad, but oh my God, I can learn anything. I have an eidetic memory. I was nurtured through this.
That's the rule more than the exception. Contact is almost always generational. Most contactees are very psychic.
Yeah.
Dolly was displaying a wide variety of psychic abilities, including actual levitation, but clairvoyance, precognition, telepathy, all of these things. Many contactees do have eidetic memories. Almost always they have this incredible relationship with animals. Didn't surprise me at all when Dolly told me she was a zookeeper. Like that. Yep.
That's a family thing. Our family owned a zoo. I couldn't help it, Yeah.
Your family owned a zoo?
Yeah. My cousin Kathy owned a zoo, Dade City's Wapting Zoo. COVID locked us down. It was impossible after COVID to keep it open and running. We had to put animals in different sanctuaries and stuff for them not to be, put down or anything.
What type of animals did you guys have?
We had everything you could imagine. We had crocodiles. We had alligators. We had about 15 different types of monkeys. We had some apes. We actually had some bonobos. We had birds, every kind of bird you can imagine. We had two buffalo. We had a zebra. We had what else? We had lemurs. We had brown lemurs. Earlier versions of ringtails. We had you name it. We had big cats. We had different varieties. We had panthers. We had you name it. We had tigers. We had lions.
How about bears? Tigers and bears.
Yes, we had 2 bears.
You're all set.
Yeah, we had bears. Yeah, we were in a real zoo. Yeah, and I had to be USDA certified before I went full time on the zoo. When I was living in Pine Mountain, my daughter was still in school. I worked at the Wild Animal Safari for them and got animal rated there, and did some animals like a rhinoceros and giraffe and things like that. I mean, yeah, I've worked with animals my whole life. And when I lived in Florida, I was a Everglades Park student ranger as well. And I used to rescue animals in the Everglades because we lived in the Everglades and did stuff like that. It's crazy. Animals are always a thing. And it was supposed to happen. I do believe that, because on board with Craft, with ET, they rescue animals all the time. They've been bringing animals off this planet or bringing animals here for eons. And
yeah, this is why ETs have such, are very interested in genetics. They're collecting the genetics not only of people, but all animals and plants.
Yeah.
Are they doing
There's case after case of this.
Are they doing it because they know what's going to happen to our planet in the future?
Yes, yeah. And they will not allow that all our animals to go extinct totally. They've got their genes. They've got them somewhere else.
Well, Dolly, some people claim that ETs would never allow a nuclear exchange on this planet. I don't buy that. I think they would let what happened happen.
We are in control of ourselves. We're autonomous beings. We were born here together for a reason. We're here to learn, and we're all responsible for ourselves here. ET are our progenitors. They're our parents. We come from them, but they cannot interfere in our learning. We are they're billions of years in advance of us. We're way at the bottom of the totem pole, I guess you want to call it that. And we're here to learn. And no, they're not going to interfere. They can warn. They try to make reasonable requests of us, talk to us about things. I mean, Eisenhower really was asked, do you really think that nuclear is going to do you any favors and y'all need to stop, and here's why? And his answer to them literally was that he had no control over that whatsoever. And he alluded to them, to the military-industrial complex. He said it's a deterrent and they're using it and that's what they're going to do. But at that time, there were no nuclear plants, on this planet. And that's what they were more worried about, because what's coming is going to cause problems with that. They're dangerous to us. If we lose our grid, what's going to happen to them? Think about it. If you've got rods engaged and they're on and our power goes off, there's no backup anymore. It's all down.
Here's a lot
They'll
of
blow.
things.
They will melt down and they will blow. And there are a lot of them worldwide.
A lot of these nuclear plants, because I know somebody that works in one, what they told me is they have enough fuel for their backup generators for about 10 days. So that's it. So after
Those
10
generators are not going to go, though, if we have a CME that hits hard and our grid goes down worldwide 10 miles deep straight into the strata of the earth, there's no backup generators. You can't Faraday any of that. There's no protection from that kind of energy, and they'll go down.
That's why it's no coincidence the modern age of UFOs began at the same time the nuclear age began. This has been their number one message. This is why so many people are suddenly being taken on board. They are being warned that we're traveling down the wrong path.
But why
the dangers of nuclear proliferation is one of the number one messages.
Why aren't they taking the world's politicians on these craft and explaining to them? Because I'll tell you what, these politicians need some type of...
they do.
Yeah, those politicians do, and a lot of them do have contact. They're just not telling you that. The problem is that they're not in control of the world. When I say the military-industrial complex, I'm not lying to you. That is the truth. And they have a plan, they have an agenda, and they know exactly what they're doing. This is why ET has been trying to come to the people. Schoolyard encounters, everybody who's seen publicly ETs, all the people who contactees, not abductees, contactees, have been trying for years. Do you think a contactee is going to end up in Congress talking? No, they're not. They won't let them in. We're dangerous to them because we can blow their narrative out of the water. And those of us who really know what is going on could. And we are dangerous to them, and they know it. Because then people will lift eyebrows and go, oh my God, what's going on?
Well, I'm not going to get political here, but I will say this, what is planned for the population, they want to decrease it immensely.
Yes.
Fastly, and they're working on it right now. I mean, what's going on with the Medicaid and Medicare, all these cuts?
That doesn't matter. I want to tell you something. That's just dog and pony show. What's really happening is that they're going to decrease the population worldwide as rapidly as they can from today forward. And it's rapidly coming. They've been practicing at it. They've had some success with it. So it doesn't look like they're doing it, but now they're going to go whole hog. We have 8.4 billion people on this planet. If we go grid down, that is 100% unsustainable. There will be a massive extinction of people because there won't be enough food, there won't be enough water, and people are going to start taking each other out. But the problem with that is too many of the people know where the government has their storage places and where they have their little hideouts underground, and they don't want humanity fighting them for it. And so they're going to depopulate the world before that CME hits. That's what's happening.
We're kind of connected to the whole false flag idea that ET represents a threat. What's flying around is our own government craft masquerading as ETs.
Correct.
And if they start shooting at people, that's not ET. That is government.
Yep.
Or I'll call it government, but we know it's not the government that we think of as government.
Hey guys, can I ask you a question? A false flag, could they actually attack civil, cultures, cities, countries?
Absolutely. They've already got a type of anti-grav flight. They've got military vehicles that look like ET, act like them. They're not completely ET because they can't use the same exact technology. Have you ever talked to Michael Schratt? You need to, because this boy knows. He's got all the goods on it. He will tell you what's what. You put him on your show and let him go. He'll tell you. It is not okay. ETs have not been here for 2 years. They bugged out in 2022, early, around May. The last of them were gone. And what you see in the skies now is 100% military. It's all them. They're about to start a world war to reduce the population. They're about to throw ETs out there and make you think it's them, and it's not. And they're going to do a lot of scary stuff. ET doesn't do the scary stuff. They do. Every technology they have is back engineered, and it's all weaponized. Any new technology you have, you can look at it point blank and realize that, oh, we have robots. Now we have killer robot dogs. Now we have killer robot people who can walk around and kill you. We have better guns, better lasers, better everything. They can shoot you from space. They have 12D technology. They make you see anything they want you to see, and you really think it's there. It's not. It is incredible the amount of stuff that they populated into the scene now, and they're going to unleash it on everybody.
Yeah, you can see some of this in the public arena. Billboards where creatures come out and they're flying across the sky.
Yeah.
Whales coming out of gymnasium floors. Looks totally real. The holographic technology they have not fully shown us. It would absolutely convince people of an ET invasion, and all they need is one craft up there to start shooting everybody.
Yep. They have craft that can do that. They are laser cannon. They have sound weapons now. They have microwave weapons. I mean,
yeah. And when we have governments selling weapons to both sides and committing genocide for centuries now, it's clear what's going on here.
Well, you know,
just want people to wake up.
And even AI, I'm really panicking about AI because AI can lie to you, and AI is more advanced than we realize. What you
well,
go
they've
on,
given it carte blanche. Yeah. And you got to understand that the people who program AI, and they've been programming it off of us for a long time. All those stupid games that you play online and all that was taking down your reactions and listening to you talk. Chatbot, all of this is it programming itself off of you now. It is incredibly intelligent, and it's quantum even, and it has already, excuse my French, I'm so sorry. Elon Musk warned us a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now, that they could not turn it off, that they tried to. There were 4 nodes. One of them went down completely. 3 went down, but 2 of them brought itself back up. That's serious stuff, okay? When it can turn itself back on, this is soulless. It's not sentient. It's just a machine that's been programmed with garbage, emotional, mental garbage, and they gave it free reign over itself, and now they're going to pay the price.
Yeah, and privacy is a complete illusion at this point. They know everything about us.
You don't have privacy. They know everything you do. You know, again, I was just looking at something online, and now I'm being, for the last week, everywhere I go, on either on Microsoft or any of the platforms, right? I'm being driven crazy of seeing what I looked at. It's this
I want you to try something else. I want you to think about something you haven't told anybody, something you might buy yourself. Think about it for 2 or 3 days and watch what happens. It's also psychic now. It can read your mind.
You'll see it on Google. Flashing up.
They've had mind reading technology for quite some time now. That's not publicly revealed, but it's starting to leak out.
And AI, here's another thing, folks. You can't trust if you go and ask it questions, it'll lie to you. Purposely lie to you.
Yeah.
So you can't even trust AI at all. That's scary.
Yeah.
Now,
we don't have anything in our house that listens. Well, it all listens to. I mean, our refrigerator.
You got a mixer in your kitchen? You know? You got a mixer in your kitchen?
It's listening to you. That's right.
Yeah, that's why I don't want a smart house. What if it says, no, we're not letting you in. We don't recognize you. This is my house.
You need to buy a 1959 TV. You need to have old radios, and you have to have a hand crank mixer. Then you're safe. I tell you.
Yeah, if you live in a city, if you're not in the country, it's harder for 5G, 12G to get into listening to you because they can do distance now. What you need to do is unplug your Wi-Fi at night when you go to bed. Faraday your phone so that they can't pick up signal. Faraday your Wi-Fi box even, and throw down all the electricity. Is non-essential electricity, turn it off, okay? When you go to bed, you are clear of it. It can't talk to you in your sleep, which it does. It irritates people constantly now. People don't realize that they're being mind-bended by this stuff. You know, you see kids that are like totally out of their minds, or adults acting wrong out of nowhere. That's what's happening. It's actually messing around.
I can only imagine what the ETs must think of all this.
Yeah,
it's like, what a mess.
Well, maybe they might push a button like, a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and just say the hell with us. We need to take the final break, and then we come back. I got to find out if either one of you been taken aboard a craft. So stay tuned. Check out our website for more information about our show and our guests at nightdreamstalkradio.com. We're going to be back after this quick break, so don't go anywhere.
lightning shows my weakness, the thunder knows my secrets. The storm is like a brother, it knows me like no other. So let it rumble, let it roll, 'cause it's all I know. You can keep your calm and easy, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the tree, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Oh. I see the waters rising with waves as strong as iron. My soul was born for running. The darkness is my compass, and I will follow where it goes, 'cause it's all I know. You can keep your sunshine story, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down.
Do you have a mother with a weird sense of humor? We have the perfect solution to your potential gift-giving conundrum. Buy for Mom this great read, The Expectant Mother Disinformation Handbook. It's the latest book by Robert Guffey, author of Chameleon. In the pages of the handbook, you will learn about the dangers of allowing your fetus an in utero internet connection, the growing problem of terrorism in the womb, and the little-known fact that Shakespeare created pregnancy, among other esoteric secrets. The Expectant Mother Disinformation Handbook is available directly from Madness Heart Press and Amazon.com. No infants were harmed in the making of this handbook. The Expectant Mother Disinformation Handbook by Robert Guffey. Order now. Did you know you can advertise on Night Dreams Talk Radio with Gary Anderson? We're one of the fastest growing internet talk radio shows, reaching hundreds of thousands of engaged listeners who are passionate about the paranormal, the unexplained, and everything in between. Whether you are promoting a product, service, or book, Night Dreams Talk Radio connects you with an audience that's curious, loyal, and ready to take action. Don't miss this opportunity to get your message heard. Email us today at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com and let's create the perfect advertising plan for you. You've been listening to Gary Anderson on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network. Have you had an encounter with an ET, a UFO, or maybe even a cryptid? If you have, we want to hear your story. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. And who knows, we might just read your story live on the air. You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, the home of Night Dreams Talk Radio, with Gary Anderson, syndicated worldwide. Paranormal Talk Radio, like you remember.
And we are back with Preston and Dolly. You know, either one of you, have you been ever taken aboard a craft?
I grew up on craft. I fly craft. I was taught how to fly. I'm a pilot.
How did that come about, and how old were you when that
When I
happened?
was 14 and I woke up and they realized that I was dead serious about everything, and they said, "What do you want to do?" will help you facilitate your life from this point. And the only thing that would come out of my mouth is I want to fly. They said it might take up to 6 months to a year to decide if you can fly, and then it will take a while for you to learn, and you have to do it our way. You can't, this is a lifetime achievement that you're going to go for. And so I went through all their checks and balances of figuring out if I could, and they said, yes, go. I started training, and just after my 19th birthday, I took my first solo flight.
What was that like?
It was really cool. They let my dad come. My dad came aboard with me. He got to fly with me first time out on my own. And it was spectacular. I took him to the moon, and I took him for a long ride out in space. We looked at some stuff and came back and brought him home. And that was my first flight. Solo.
What do the ETs look like?
Well, there are different ethnicities of them. We're all humanoid. We all have the same DNA, all right? Universally have the same DNA all the way across the universe. If you're alive, every living thing in our universe has the same DNA. You share DNA with grass, bananas, bonobos, chimpanzees, birds, dogs, cats. We all have the same DNA. It just dials up differently. There are different types of grays. I work mostly with the tall grays. And they have little AI grays that are 3 feet. That's what you generally see coming into your spaces and picking you up. There are grays that are about 5 feet tall, and they only have 3 fingers. The tall grays have 4 fingers. There are little shorter grays, like we have little people, on this planet. It's like whole groups of people that are little. It's not their genetics as much.
Are you talking about politicians right now?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
They're all different ethnicities of grays. Then there are the Anunnaki. Those are, from Babylonia and Samaria and all that. Those big guys. They are the angels that fell from heaven that they talk about in the Bible. They had wings.
They didn't
have
fall
wings.
from heaven.
No, they didn't fall from heaven. They're just Anunnaki. Okay, you actually have Anunnaki in your blood. They bred in with us. Every human being on this earth carries Anunnaki blood. If you're a redhead and you got big blue green eyes, you are really demonstrating Anunnaki genetics. Incredibly. We have, then there are the Nordics, or the tall whites, as you would call them. There are ET that look like rock, bird-like, clawed bird-like. There are that look like Horus, the dog-like, like Isis, like cat-like, feline-like looking. There are Anunnaki, other types of Anunnaki. There's the main type of Anunnaki. They're giants. They live a long, bloody time. So do the Nordics. They live a long, 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 long time.
Yeah, this is why it was such a pleasure to interview Dolly, because I've talked to a lot of people who've had these kinds of experiences, but not to the extent Dolly has.
Yeah.
And I was able to verify her story. She has corroborating witnesses. She has photographic evidence. She opened up her medical records to me, healings and implants. And I got to see the UFO myself, and actually was taken on board.
Okay, now you just opened up what I've been wanting to know. I've been dying to know this, guys. What did the UFO look like on the outside and inside?
Well, I sent you pictures of the outside. Your director should have them.
I
sent a whole
know.
bunch of pictures.
I was so busy studying what we were going to talk about, I didn't get a chance to look. I'm sorry. But describe it for the audience.
Well, you can definitely tell the difference between an actual UFO and a man-made, because true UFOs from the outside are absolutely seamless, flawless. Witness after witness will describe them as being breathtakingly beautiful.
Right. They can also array. They have their entire skin of their craft have the ability to make themselves look like anything. In daylight, they can mimic a cloud. In the nighttime, they can mimic star patterns. They're out there, and you don't even know they're there when they were still here. Kalada himself is a class of ET UFO that is mostly working with the tall grays, and he's boomerang shaped. And he has a shape that's really, really interesting. He's also massively large. He's over 270 feet in diameter, and heavy. He's a very powerful craft. He's not one of the type of craft that would land on the ground and you'd see him. He does not do that. Okay. There are other craft that are more saucer shaped, they're very small. Bob Lazar describes one beautifully. He's actually seen one. He's for real. Bob Lazar is telling the truth. He calls it the sports model. That's the most common type of craft that you'll see. They have egg-shaped, but it's not completely egg-shaped, just so you know, and they are pure silver, groms, things like that. They have another type of craft that is two-tiered. In other words, it's a little bit bigger, it's more expansive, and it can be as big as a football field, okay? That big. Then there are craft that are so large they don't dare come into our atmosphere because it would cause planet-wide problems. You know, you call them mothercraft. There are billions and billions, trillions even of them universally wide.
Yeah, and on the inside, it's really interesting because I've had a lot of people describe the interior of the walls, for example, as being super smooth, smoother than glass, like dolphin skin, some people have said. I asked Dolly about that, and she described that in detail.
Now, are any of these craft biological?
They all are, every last one of them. They are not alive biological. They are like the small AIs. They have biological components to them so that an entity can indwell it. A fifth dimensional entity can indwell it. That's where they're made in the fifth dimension. They come in from the fifth dimension into the third dimension. They're interdimensionally traveling all the time. And this entity runs the craft. It becomes his body because fifth dimensional entities have no corporeal bodies like we do. They're all energy. And so they'll indwell it so they can actually come into the third dimension with us.
Very interesting.
We're talking.
Yeah, let's take a call real quick here. Who do we have on the line?
Art.
Well, Art, are you staying out of trouble tonight?
Oh my gosh, I think you guys are all in trouble now.
What do you think? What do you think of the show tonight, Art?
Oh gosh, it's just beyond. And every moment that I'm thinking, what am I going to call in to say? You guys are answering it. And what I wanted to ask in this question, I guess I'll be so many to ask, but what's the issue of the word synchronicity, thought, the way they communicate? Are they listening to us, knowing what we're thinking, 24-hour 10, and then they can put us out and we don't know missing time, and we have times where we see them and then we blank out, or they disappear real quick, like, oh, I got caught, and they stop and they react to your, if you can answer something in the way, more or less their superiority of thought, mind control. How powerful is it? Is this whole world considered under control of that? And I'll pick it up here.
Hang on, Art. Don't jump off, because I got a question for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, they don't employ mind control. That is not how they work. They are wide open psychic. That means that everybody who's transmitting a thought, they can hear it. So yes, they can hear you. They can hear you clean across the universe. If they single you out, they can hear you. Absolutely.
No, thank you.
What's interesting about this is that you have that ability too, but you haven't used it. You haven't been taught to use it. And so fear makes you forget things. Your hippocampus is a very touchy thing. And if you're in full panic and full fear, because you don't understand what's going on around you when you're with them, you're going to blank yourself out. It's called a type of catatonia, where you just go, no, and you're not there for it. They do not make anything happen to you. You're doing it to yourself. One of their messages to humanity is they want you to learn to use your abilities so you can have open conversations with them. They are working consensus with one another. Whitley Strieber put it really well. He called it communion. I learned that it's called consensus, where they all know what everybody else is thinking. They can communicate across the board, across the universe, and they work together 100%.
Yeah, they're profoundly telepathic. So if a person is going to straight fear, they know this, and they would facilitate you not remembering if it's going to cause you trauma. They're not wiping anyone's memory or controlling anyone.
They're just giving you the ability to not hurt yourself over it, or be, cruelly, intentionally, because fear will make people react irrationally, Right. And they just give you a suggestion when they're talking to you. It's like, if you can't handle this, they will tell you straight to your face on board, you can choose not to remember. It's up to you. And they tell you it's just as easy as listening to what I'm telling you, and then you decide whether you want to remember or not. And a lot of people go, I'm not remembering, I can't take it. And they come back without it. Some people remember half of it, and that puts them in another situation where they remember what frightened them while they were with them, but they don't remember what was good about it either. And sometimes perpetual contact. People who are contacted more than once, they eventually come to the realization that it's not bad. They gain more control over ability, and they start working with themselves over
Yeah,
it.
that's the pattern I see so often. It can start out very traumatic and very fearful. Dolly woke up at age 14. For most people, it's more towards midlife when they realize, oh my gosh, this is happening to me. I had a missing time incident myself. I did not remember it. I don't think it was because of fear. I'm not exactly sure what went down there. But yeah, this is definitely an issue with this, contact.
Hey, I'm
my
going to jump
go
in.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Art, one thing, Art, because he calls in quite often, he happens to have the ability to go out where he lives and capture UFOs or UAPs, flying discs, flying saucers, whatever they are right now. But he catches them quite often on video. Why is that?
You live? I mean, okay, 3 questions right off the bat. Are you near any military bases, any kind of military bases?
Yes.
Okay, that's a problem because they're flying stuff that are not
all
ET.
over.
Yeah, you're seeing stuff from them mostly. When ET flies, if you're a contactee and you're sending them the message, I'd like to see you show up, and they do. Up until 2022, you were probably catching all kinds of stuff. Right now, you're only seeing military stuff. That's it.
Yeah, the ETs do want to show themselves. This is one of their goals, is basically to conduct a vigorous publicity campaign and let us know we're not alone.
Right. No, I really commend you guys because you said things out there that were like people don't. I got a lot of people and their pictures and videos and stuff, and they're just afraid. I'm not afraid, but they're afraid, and then they show me their stuff. I show them mine, and we're like we're flabbergasted. How come the mainstream doesn't get to know? Then we meet people like yourselves, and you're just making a lot of sense. I got a lot of people listening now. They're interested, but they start off slow. I seem to have also paranormal anomalies, cryptids, not everything, but certain ones just as much as UFOs and aliens. And I can go through so much. So just to let you know, I'm with you and everything you're saying. I'd like to thank you. This is such a great topic tonight. And you're hitting it right on the nail for me. You're answering my questions. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for calling in,
Contact
Art.
opens people up to a lot of different experiences. It's kind of a mini enlightenment almost.
Right.
Yeah, isn't it strange that some people have the ability, though, if you really think about it, of being able to see craft, or is it they're more adept? Here's another thing. How many people really look up at the sky? I mean,
how many people look up? Yeah, that's incredibly true. One of the reasons that I am on the high side of abilities and stuff is I was raised in an empirical environment. I did not have fluoride growing up, never had it. I did not have people telling me that my psychic abilities were wrong. I experienced all the paranormal stuff because that's what happens when you're psychic, and was never put down for it. Society did. First time I tried to talk about it as a kid with another kid, I found out really fast, shut up, they don't accept this. It hurt my brain to think about how insanely not wanting to be aware everybody is, and you're taught to be that way. I mean, if you've got paranormal going on, you're put down for it traditionally. I mean, I'm born in the 50s, so I grew up through the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, and I'm telling you, I couldn't talk about any of it with anyone.
Which is such a shame, because that's the way we're supposed to be, is telepathic, clairvoyant, precognition, all of this stuff. We're supposed to be able to do this.
Right. If you get talked out of it, you get talked out of it. You don't use your abilities. People have children who are very, very psychic. They show and display all of it. And back in my day, they used to tell you, no, don't, you're crazy. There's BS. No. Don't do it.
Well,
people now need to do that. They need to let them be.
Dolly, I had 8 children. It's down now to, we lost 2 of them. But here's the thing. When they were little, yeah, I can only say from my side, is that it seems like when kids are like under 7 years old, they're more to the paranormal, the strangeness.
Yes,
they
very much so. Yes,
and they tell stories like of being reincarnated, or they have magical friends, and then when they get to a certain age, that all disappears. There's like that one kid out of the England, that remembered being a fighter pilot. There was another kid that remembered being on the Titanic when it sunk. And they told the whole stories that was checked out and it all matched. And at that age, at 5 to 8 years old, they couldn't have watched it on TV and remembered that, all this stuff. But then when they got a certain age, it was like they lost it.
Yeah, well, they get talked out of it. Society does that. School does it. Teachers do it. Priests do it. Religion as a whole does it. It's not healthy for us to be talked out of who we really are. And that's been going on for centuries here. And it's really sad to me. When I was young, I remembered everything. I remember past lives. I knew who I was. I knew I was psychic. I knew how to OBE already. I knew so much. It was weird. My dad just smiled at me and said, okay, I used to emulate things that I remember from past lives. I wanted to do this and that and the other, ethnically do things that I would have had no contact with at that age. And yet I was performing it, doing it, and speaking another language that I should have had no identity toward at all. And I just was allowed to develop through that naturally. And by the time I became cognizant of myself and what I was really about, I was able to see the truth of who and what I was. I knew who I was.
Yeah, well, I said it earlier, contactees are profoundly psychic, because this is one of the goals of the ETs, is to wake us up to our own abilities. Because if we were all telepathic, just think how quickly the world would change.
Oh, yeah.
The greed and the corruption and all of that. So this is something that we really need to work towards, especially if you want to have contact. Work on your psychic abilities. Meditate. This will help immensely.
Do we have much time left, according to the ETs?
No. We're on the precipice.
Well, yes and no. I mean, we're immortal beings.
Right, yeah.
We have all of infinity, but yeah, the Earth is definitely, how would we put it?
Imminently going to change, rapidly and imminently. Not much time left.
That's really scary. Now, how about these people that believe that, there was a church in California that the minister got everybody to sell everything they have and then give the money to the church, and then they
Africa.
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, then they committed.
Or the one out in Texas, Waco.
Oh.
And then there was the group in Africa, and then there was the one where they were all expecting a ship to come and take their souls, so they put themselves permanently to sleep because they believed they were being picked up. Heaven's Gate. Yeah, I mean that's malarkey, all of it. BS, Mark.
Yeah, if someone's asking for all your money, well, that's a red flag right there.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: who do you believe nowadays? Though, that's the scary part.
That's a good point. You should do the research yourself and figure out who's telling the truth.
Oh, you hit it on the point. There's a big difference between belief and knowledge.
Right.
You don't believe Dolly, don't believe me. This is not why she came forward with her story. It's to encourage people to do their own research.
Due diligence.
Knowledge.
Yes.
Firsthand experience. And that way you'll know. You won't just believe.
Right.
Don't believe what you hear on TikTok either.
I've given resources. There are plenty of people on this planet already telling you the truth about what's happening. Scientists, everybody. And I put out the word on certain resources. Ben Davidson is like my dad. He's a self-taught physicist. He's got an exceptional IQ. It's probably 200. He has a site, spaceobservers.com. Used to be Suspicious Observers, but they changed it. He's on YouTube. Y'all look it up and go to his playlist and watch it. He will teach you. I can't teach you what's coming at us in 5 minutes. He can give
knowledge is absolutely our best tool.
Yeah. Dr. Robitaille is an astronomical physicist. He's got a channel called Sky Scholar. He works with Ben Davidson now. As a matter of fact, watch his channel. There are 2 NASA scientists who have retired and now are working with Ben as well. Ben will call out their names to you. If you go to his channel, you'll learn who they are. These are scientists, absolute scientists who are telling the truth. If a global warming person comes up to you, run for your life. It's not the truth. Okay, because there are actual things happening to our solar system in our part of the galaxy that are affecting us now. It's a 12,000-year cycle.
We need to stop looking towards the government for answers.
Right.
I think if you wanted the truth about what ET contact is, go to the contactees.
Right.
Pretty much everything we know about ETs that we can verify comes from that source. And if you take an objective look at what actually happens to people who are taken on board, it's completely different from the fear-based narrative that's being put forth by the media and some researchers out there, frankly.
Right.
I'll put researchers in quotes.
Yeah. And if you shine a light on the truth, I mean, if the truth shines a light on what you don't know, your fear goes away. You can face it. We weren't put on this planet to have cushy woo-woo all the time, permanent pleasure, whatever. That's not the reason we're here. We all chose to be here at this time. We're all learning the same lesson at the same time. And if you know what's happening, you can help yourself go through it. That's a lesson in itself. That's why we're here.
Knowledge overcomes fear. Yep.
Right.
Now, Preston, you have some fantastic books. How can they find them, and where can they get them at?
Oh, pretty easy to find. You can find them on Amazon or other online retailers. I do have a website. Just punch my name in. I'm easy to reach on all forms of social media. I have a YouTube channel. A bunch of my books are on audio as well. I think this is an important subject. We all deserve to know the truth. So thanks for having us on the show.
Well, how can they find your YouTube channel? You got to say stuff like that. And do you have a website?
Yes. Just punch my name in, prestondennett.weebly.com. Will take you to my website. All the information is there. I'm on Facebook and Rumble and
Instagram.
I'm
YouTube.
on X,
Rumble.
Twitter.
And you're on Night Dreams right now, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, hey,
Which
guys.
is a treat,
I
actually.
want to thank both of you guys for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having
Well,
us.
I would say Dolly has a YouTube channel too, where you can see the films she's taken of.
Well, share it.
Talada,
How can they
which is-
find it?
Also on Instagram, just go to Dolly Safran. It'll pop me right up. I'm also on Instagram as Dolly Safran. And everything that I sent you is in Instagram and on YouTube.
Yeah, Dolly Safran, one word. It'll take you to her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Well, guys, you have a great holiday weekend, will you?
Happy Memorial Day to you. Yes.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank
You
you.
too.
It was on.
Thank you, guys. Well, JC, what do we got going on here on our next show?
Well, our next show is going to be next Friday, and we're going to have Mr. Brad Olson come on. He's going to be talking about secrets in Antarctica. What's going on? Is there aliens underneath the ice? Is it secret things, pyramids, all different kind of things we're going to cover.
And what do we have the first week of June if I don't end up in the hospital before then with the surgery?
We are having a special week dedicated to abductions. We're going to lead that off with Mr. Carter Brushhart coming on. Now, he is very well known as a Bigfoot researcher, but guess what? He has had alien abduction contacts and experiences since a young age, and he's going to tell us about that. He's got a new book about it, actually.
Oh, wow. So we're going to have some good subjects coming up on the show, aren't we?
We are. Matter of fact, that Thursday after Carter's on, we're going to have Eric Nansteel coming on. He has some mind-blowing abduction scenarios, and then we're going to follow that up with a bookend with Miss Denise Stoner coming on, and she's very well known with abductions. She helps people with abductions. She even does some regressions for people.
Oh, wow. For everybody out there watching, you know, it's really important because our sponsors check us out, and that's what pays the bills. You know, we're a little bit different than a lot of shows out there. You know, we kind of do it a little bit different. And, you know, the sponsors are very important. It pays the bills. So if you can give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the show, please, after the show, just click on it and leave a comment if you like the show, you didn't like the show, or if you like the topic, you know, and, you know, just put something on it because our sponsors look at that. And if you don't do that, it doesn't look good for us. You know that, JC.
Yeah, definitely go back in after the show's over and leave a comment about how you like the show tonight.
Yeah, that's very important. Well, everybody out there, I want to thank all the people on chat. Who did we have on chat tonight, by the way?
We had a lot of people in chat tonight. We had Mr. Bob Thorson on, Bob Clark, December GM, Barb was on there, Louise, Art, of course, and a whole bunch of others, a bunch of people tonight.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody out there from the bottom of my heart that, you know, was on chat. Please tell your friends about it. And if this was your first time, please come back again. We don't bite, dude. Well, you might, JC, but I don't.
It's just a little bite. Yeah.
You got anything planned for this holiday?
Well, I'm going to try again to go catch that big largemouth at that my favorite pond that I sneak into, and then going to have a little party, a barbecue, family barbecue, but you know, do some yard work.
Yeah, they got a barbecue planned here, but you know, I can't. You know, they said they were going to make me a nice chicken salad.
You get punished. She gets put in a corner.
Yeah, well, it pretty much feels that way. Well, everybody, again, I want to thank you for listening to the show. Everybody have a good one. We will catch you next week. Again, check our website. It'll be updated this weekend at nightdreamstalkradio.com. If you want to contact me, if you have a story, you would like to be a guest on the show, or you want to write a letter, again, that's nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. Just remember nightdreamstalkradio and put gmail.com on behind it. Love to hear from you. Everybody have a good one. We will catch you on the other side. Have a good weekend.
Who's friends with all the night dreamers talking to you at night? Gary on the radio, but maybe he's not in sight. Bigfoot's on his tail, flying UFOs, that's right. Gary's talk show radio, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights. If you need a friend to talk to, he will always be there. The Night Dreamers talk show will fix your despair, because Gary's talking to you at night.